Here with Alan Richardson after the draw against Hampshire. Alan, what's your initial reaction after that?
I think quite mixed, if I'm honest. Really proud of how the boys applied themselves today. I think with the ball, when we had such a poor day yesterday in terms of outcome, put us behind the game a little bit. But I thought we stuck at the task with the ball really well today when it could have been extremely difficult. And then obviously set pretty steep tasks today, and we wanted to try and take it as deep as we could and give ourselves a chance going into the last 20 overs, and it felt like we did that. Just probably needed just someone just to put a bit more of a partnership together towards the end. But I think when you're playing the shots that you have to and taking the calculated risks that you are, then there's always a danger you can't do that. So yeah, just real mix really. Frustrated, disappointed, a bit gutted for the boys. It's a pretty quiet change room again. It's not a loss, but it felt like we had opportunities to get well ahead of the game and we didn't take it, and then we end up, giving ourselves a sniff but not being able to take that.
Frustrated by the fact that going into day three, you were in a position to control the game really and just let it go in that.
Yeah, I think so. More than anything else, I think, it's interesting how you look at a game over a period of time, and I think we did so much good stuff, and then but obviously yesterday was in terms of how we went about our business, just nowhere near where we should be at. Not a fair reflection of us as a group. So then we end up from going in a really good position, or potentially a very good position, and being in complete control of the game, to then being behind the game. And it's, I guess the beauty of a 4-day game of cricket, the ebbs and flows of it, and how long it takes. And we talk about it a lot. And it's a game of repetition, and doing some really basic stuff really well for long periods of time. All the best sides do that. And we didn't quite do that yesterday, and a side like Hampshire take advantage of that, and we get ourselves in a bit of a hole then. And what was disappointing, I think, yesterday was we were only 40 behind. I don't think we quite reacted as well as we could have done in the field. In terms of that, I think, it was disappointing that we were 40 behind, but only because probably of the manner that we got there. So I think in terms of that, it'd have been, I think we could have applied some pressure in the field, and we didn't do that at all yesterday. So enabled them to get off to a good start, which really killed us, I think, in terms of then having any sort of element of control. And as you could see there, Hampshire's declaration, it was theirs to make. They could have batted on. They didn't have to declare. So, I think as soon as we did that, the game was out of our hands in terms of the tempo that it was played at.
It was a clever declaration in the sense that it gave them a chance to win, but it really gave you very little chance. It would have to be a heck of a chase to score on that pitch with the Kookaburra when it gets a bit softer. To score that many in 53 overs was a really tall order.
Yeah, I think it's the shorter the chase, though, Frank, I always think the better. So we only have to do it for, instead of having to bat for 70 overs, we only had to do it for 53. And so it was like, well, that's a chance to do that. And we wanted to set a really good platform, and I felt like Libs and Cash did that really well. And we talked about, well, what's a pass score here to T20, it's about 170, 180. So if we need something in and around that going into the last 20, even if it's a bit more, if we've got wickets in hand, that at least gives us a chance. But we needed to have that platform, and they gave us that. And we just didn't quite get over the line. It felt like going into the last 10 overs, if we were 4 down, we probably would have really fancied ourselves. So, yeah, it's up to Hampshire how they go about their business. Some people might look at a really clever one. For us, I was comfortable, how many overs we had. It gave us a sniff, and the least amount of overs probably the better for us, if I'm honest.
A word for Jake Libby. 200's obviously superb. 440 runs against Hampshire for once out this season. He's in pretty good nick, isn't he?
Yeah, he has. It's been challenging at times for the batters. We've had lots of conversations about that in this pod in terms of playing here. But when he's had an opportunity to score his runs, obviously big innings down at Hampshire, another one at Sussex, and then he's backed them up with twin hundreds here. He goes about his business really well. We've been talking about the work that he does in the winter and how well he does that. Really works on his strengths, but also looks at bits of his game that he needs to work on. And he's at a stage of his career where he knows his game really well. And I think over the last couple of years, you've seen him do that really well. And played again magnificently well here. Spent a hell of a lot of time on the field again. So he obviously enjoys his cricket, and he's in really good form at the moment.
Tom Taylor, leading wicket taker in Division 1.
Yeah, bowled really well. We always felt with Tommy when he came to the club, there was always potentially always going to be a slight change in role for him here and open the bowling for us, and he's done it really well. has bowled magnificently throughout the season, I think, and has deserved his reward. So it's really good to see, and hopefully you can continue that on throughout the season.
Just got to win the last 3 then, now.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think going into these last 5, what's the most frustrating is we've given ourselves chances to win in both of these games and haven't got the wins that I think at times we've deserved. But then we also have to look at it, and we haven't done well enough throughout the 4 days to probably deserve it thoroughly. So I think we continue on. There's an opportunity to put 3 really good performances together, and if we do that, you never know what's going to happen.
Meanwhile, onto the One Day Cup, back to the white ball, and a chance for some of the fringe players to get a bit of cricket.
Yeah, we'll have to have a look at that. Very different than this time last year, where myself and Carrie Lloyd upstairs were scrambling around for players. We had about 8 or 9 on the injury list. This year, we reasonably clean bill of health. We've got a couple of guys carrying some pretty, tough niggles. So we'll probably have a bit of a look at that. There'll be some opportunities for some players. We'll rotate the seamers, no doubt, throughout that. Some of them put a real slog in so far. So I think we need to look at it carefully. We want to compete in it. I think we've done really well over the last couple of years. It'd be nice to continue that and play in front of some good crowds here. So I think it's a good opportunity for everyone still to play some really good cricket. I like the 50 over format, and so we'll see how we go from there.
As ever, Alan, thank you for your time.
No problem, Frank. Thank you.
This is Mike the Plasterer. He needs a trusted supplier for his materials and tools. Mike needs Profile Store. With an easy-to-use website, you can check stock online, order it and collect it within the hour. Profile Store offer free delivery over £125 and fast overnight shipping. With over 2,000 products in stock, they're sure to have what you need. So get yourself down to the trade counter in Kidderminster today. Get the job done with profilestore.co.uk.